Today we're looking at quadratic equations and how to solve them using the quadratic formula, one of the most powerful tools in algebra. Here's our quadratic equation. 2x squared plus 3x minus 5 equals 0. This is a typical quadratic equation that we can't easily solve by factoring. Our goal is to find the values of x that make this equation true. These values are called the roots or solutions of the equation, and they represent the x-coordinates where the parabola crosses the x-axis when graphed. The quadratic formula works with the standard form of a quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. To use the formula, we first need to identify the coefficients a, b, and c from our equation. Looking at our equation, we can see that the coefficient of x squared is 2, so a equals 2. The coefficient of x is 3, so b equals 3. And our constant term is negative 5, so c equals negative 5. Let's highlight these coefficients in our original equation. The blue 2 is our coefficient a, the green 3 is our coefficient b, and the red negative 5 is our coefficient c. And here's how they correspond to the variables in our standard form. These coefficients are what we'll plug into the quadratic formula to find our solution. In the next step, we'll substitute these values into the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. This will give us the exact solutions to our equation. With a equals 2, b equals 3, and c equals negative 5, we're now ready to calculate the solutions using the quadratic formula. Today we'll solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. When we have an equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, the quadratic formula gives us a direct way to find the solutions. Before we can apply the formula, we need to identify the three coefficients in our quadratic equation. These are labeled a, b, and c in the standard form. Looking at our equation, we can see that the coefficient a is 2. This is the number in front of x squared, representing the quadratic term. The value of a tells us about the shape of the parabola. Since a is positive, the parabola opens upward. Next, the coefficient b is 3, which appears in front of x. This is the linear term in our equation. The value of b influences where the parabola crosses the y-axis and affects the axis of symmetry. Finally, the constant term c equals negative 5. This is the term without any variable. The value of c determines where the parabola crosses the y-axis, specifically at the point 0, negative 5. With all three coefficients identified,